I cannot wait. I'm going to go buy a TV licence now so I can tune in to the BBC's Glastonbury coverage. Hi, it's me again, and with one of the world's biggest and most pointless festivals, in my humble opinion, upon us, this headline popped up, and I thought it was worth us having a chat about it, because it seems like it's in my wheelhouse a bit. Look. Cash-strapped BBC fears losing Glastonbury TV rights to streaming giants. Wow. Who cares? Does anybody actually watch Glastonbury on the telly? Do they? I know the attendance is crazy and the cost of the tickets is absolutely insane. You wouldn't get me there. That's just me. Yeah, I'm not that kind of person, am I? But does anyone really care about watching it on the TV? I mean, I took the liberty of finding the full lineup for this year's Glastonbury. Have a look at this. Pyramid Stage, Biffy Clyro, who's that? Alanis Morissette. Fair dues. I'd actually quite like to see Alanis Morissette. There's still one that says TBA. Isn't the Pyramid Stage the main stage? Burning Spear. No idea. C-Mat. Supergrass. I've heard of them, but Pyramid Stage Saturday, Neil Young, Ray, don't know who that is, Patra, don't know who that is, John Fogerty, don't know who that is, Script, don't know who that is. I'm sounding quite old. I am old and bitter now in my 40s, granted. Kaiser Chiefs, heard of them, granted. Olivia Rodrigo, don't know. Noah Kahan, don't know. Rod Stewart, yeah, alright, fair enough, but he's not exactly in his prime. Is he? The Selector? I don't know. I'm just whizzing through these. Buster Rhymes, he's had his day. That was years ago. It was when I was a kid, wasn't it? Rizzle Kicks. I can't wait. I cannot wait. I'm going to go buy a TV licence now so I can tune in to the BBC's Glastonbury coverage of Rizzle Kicks. Oh, no, I've missed it. Friday. That's today. But yeah, no, I've missed it. That was this afternoon. I can't believe I've missed Rizzle Kicks. Deftone, Weezer, that's a bit old, isn't it? There's no one big there. Prodigy are alright, but really, nowadays, 2025, I'm skimming. I'm still going. There's a lot of acts. No wonder the tickets are quite expensive. God, there's a lot of acts. So how much does the BBC pay for the coverage of this? Because it's not just the TV rights that they have. This seems to be like a big little bonus for some of the people who work at the BBC in the music department, and for the cameramen. They all get a nice weekend in VIP areas, not having to queue for bogs or get muddy, anything like that. They send a lot of staff, don't they? Well, last year there was an FOI request. This is the FOI request. This is from Joshua. Could you please provide me the following information for each of the last 10 years? He went a bit far there, though. That probably wouldn't fit under their remit, but I don't want to spoil it for you. It's the BBC's coverage of Glastonbury, right? So total number of staff attending Glastonbury Festival each year, because I would imagine it's hundreds. It's hundreds. You've got the presenters who are living their best life all weekend, aren't they? Then you've got a multitude, I would imagine, of producers who are definitely there to work hard and not just for a free VIP weekend at Glastonbury. Total number of hours of coverage of the broadcast. Total number of any spouses, partners or friends of BBC staff having costs and expenses paid for by the BBC who attend Glastonbury each year. What a solid, good question that is, Joshua. As this is being done with taxpayers' money, the licence fee, it's irrelevant if you're paying BBC Studios or BBC Worldwide. I'm starting to like you, Joshua. If you're still using taxpayers' money, blah, blah, blah. If it's not being funded with licensing money, I require evidence of how it was funded for broadcast. Yeah, because BBC Studios isn't part of the BBC you pay your licence fee to. It's a commercial entity, it's profitable. Is it turnover or profit? About, I haven't got my notes. About £1 billion a year, and they sell the show. So people do believe, if you don't know about it, I'll do it quick, that if the BBC got defunded and scrapped off, you'd lose all your favourite shows like Doctor Who, for some reason. If that's your favourite, I doubt that's your favourite show anymore, or Strictly or anything like that. They're all made by BBC Studios and sold to the BBC that you pay your licence fee to. So nothing would go away, they'd just sell them elsewhere, wouldn't they? So anyway, simply saying it was made by BBC Studios that doesn't come under FOI isn't a good enough response given the history of I really like this, Joshua. Given the history of transferring licence fee money to the BBC Studio, the BBC Worldwide, blah, blah, blah. Let's see where this goes then. Can you guess? Can you guess which way this FOI is going to go? Okay, the BBC responded to that. This is why I haven't filed an FOI for this, and I very rarely file FOIs to the BBC anymore, for this reason. We have carefully considered your request and concluded that it is clear from your description of the information you are seeking that if the BBC held information of the kind you have asked for, what do you mean if the BBC held information of the kind you asked for? You're telling me the BBC haven't worked out how many staff they're sending, how many spouses they're sending, and how much money it costs them to buy the rights to Glastonbury. It's not if. You have that information. God, I hate the BBC. It would all be held for the purposes of journalism, art or literature. The FOI Act does not apply to information held by the BBC for any of those purposes. So if you ask the BBC an FOI request for the purposes of journalism, art or literature, they don't have to respond. That's how they get out of everything. It doesn't matter what I ask them, they can say you're going to use it for the purpose of journalism. We're not giving it to you. So what's the absolute effing point of FOI requests then, if you can just get out of them that easy? To be clear, in this case we have not searched for any information, since any that we found would be non-disclosable, and the searches would not serve any useful purpose. So if this was a journalist, I don't know if it is or not, let's say this was a journalist, and he published that information, so licence fee payers and fans of the BBC and the British public in general would know how much the BBC pays for Glastonbury coverage. They'd know how many staff are sent, how many spouses, girlfriends, partners, whatever are sent. And that wouldn't be of a useful purpose to the people who pay the licence. Well, it probably wouldn't, because it would piss them off and they might cancel. How do they get out of these things? How? I had a bit of a look around the internet, and the BBC sends an estimated 500 staff members to Glastonbury to manage and broadcast coverage. 500. So I know there's a lot of stages, there's a lot of cameras, there'll be a lot of sound engineers, there'll be a lot of just general engineers doing the wiring and the setting up, and then the vans to broadcast it. But a lot of that 500 won't be necessary, will it? They will be producers and assistants that don't need to be there. It's just a little bonus for them for the year. They look forward to it. The BBC aims to provide comprehensive coverage, including over 40 hours on TV and 85 hours on live radio, which you don't pay your licence fee for, so it makes no difference to me. So 500 members of staff. God knows how much the rights for the broadcast rights for Glastonbury are. If the streaming services are getting involved, that will drive the price up to millions. Does it say in this article that we didn't even read, that I started with? No. That's the first. It's not often I start reading an article and then just go straight off on one without actually reading the article. But yeah, that's what happened. So 40 hours of TV, 500 members of staff. How much do you reckon the broadcasting rights would be? Millions, obviously. They'll probably need extra equipment. They'll probably have to rent cameras or bring in extra staff. It's millions and millions and millions of pounds from your TV licence fees for something that, does it get good viewers anymore? Would you have if you had a licence fee, would you tune in to any? I'll put a link below. That's on the BBC website. A link to all the acts that are on. There's not one there I would go and see. And I like live music. Don't get me wrong. I like live music. I did go to V a few times when it was in Chelmsford. I just went to a gig the other day in London. Went all the way to Camden with the kids. I like live music. There's nothing there that's good. On Vogue, Westholt stage, Friday, 5:30. Missed that as well. Never mind. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this. It doesn't seem value for money for me. For all the times the BBC are claiming they've got to make cutbacks to this and cutbacks to that, surely this is an easy one that will save them, 10 million quid straight off the fucking bat, which they can spend on more EastEnders set. And they won't get into that. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching. Hit all the buttons while you're down there, subscribe and all that. You have to say it at the end of YouTube videos now, don't you? But if you do all that, hopefully I'll get to see you in another video again soon, won't I? Ta-da!